Alright. So, it's the official start to April Fool's Month. I figured I'm going to start off with a trilogy. So, we're going to start with the Van Wilder trilogy. And, of course, the first one on there is National Lampoon's Van Wilder, which came out in 2001. 10 years ago. Starring Ryan Reynolds, Tara Reid, Cal Penn, what's his name? Tim Matheson and Paul Gleason. You know, Cal Penn isn't even credit. There would be 2 sequels following this. Well, sort of a sequel and a prequel that can't really be a prequel because it makes no sense. But anyway, so National Lampoon's Van Wilder tells the story of Van Wilder, a 7-year college senior. Well, he's been in college for 7 years, but he's a senior right now. So I'm assuming 4 years. So he's been a senior for 3 years, 3 or 4, yeah. Because he just loves it there. We come to find out he's just, too scared to go out in the world later. But he is the man around campus. The man. You want a party done, you go to Van Wilder. And, we, seeing the thing. We see the way he moves things. He narrates the whole story. And we see through his eyes that, he gets a new, assistant named Taj Mahal Badalandabad, played by Cal Penn. And then we have this, he has another best friend whose name I don't know, but he smokes weed. And we have Tara Reid playing, does it say her name? Gwen Pearson. And she's a reporter, and she's hired to do a story on Van Wilder. Now, she has a boyfriend named Dick. Richard, but Dick. And he's a dick. And he is, of course, because it's stereotypical of these movies at the time, he is the leader of a frat house. And so, yes, and he's a dick. And you have Paul Gleason playing a teacher who doesn't like him. You have Booger, or Metatron, Curtis. Doesn't say anything. Curtis, you know what I'm talking about. The guy who's in everything, but you never know. He's a security guard or something. Rides around on a little scooter thingy, but, or not scooter, but, golf cart. So basically, Gwen is trying to get the story for the werewolf from American Werewolf in Paris, Tom Everett Scott, who has a cameo in this movie. And when I watched American Werewolf in Paris, I knew I'd seen him somewhere before. It was in this movie. So, yeah. So there's some plot points I want to get to. First and foremost, you got to talk about the Twinkie or cake roll scene. A scene so vile that when Big LT Radio and I watched this, I was so nice and I skipped the scene. He probably didn't even know that I did anything, but I did, and you're welcome, my friend. If you're watching this Big LT Radio, plug your ears for about 5 minutes. Those of you with sensitive stomachs as well, plug your ears for 5 minutes, please. So, what they do... So, one of the big gags in this is that Van Wilder's dog, Colossus, has a big nutsack. So, they do this thing where, it's a war between Van and his friends and the frat. And so they fill up these cake rolls or Twinkies, whatever it's supposed to be, and they cut out the middle part, and they put dog specimen, dog juice, we'll call it, because I don't want to get, they put dog juice in it, and then, because it's the same color as cream filling, don't you know? And they they give it to the place, and they're all eating it, of course, and they're licking it off their fingers, until the lady shows them the picture. The one thing that's bugging me is, how do you not notice by the taste? It's gonna taste off. You know? It's gonna have a weird taste to it. Now, I don't know what that tastes like, and I never will. But I just gotta imagine it wouldn't taste like cream filling. That's all I know. You know? But anyway, there's that scene. And then there is the final party scene. There's a party. Van Wilder just doing the party, you know, and the door guy is his African American friend. He gets distracted when the girl working with the frats shows up and shows him a provocative picture, and they sneak like fourth graders or whatever in there and have them do shots. And the only thing that comes out of this that I think is funny is when they come out there, like there's a cop that shows up, and then the kids come out, and Van Wilder's line where he goes, "Those circus midgets have too much booze." I do kind of laugh at that. But yeah, and so Gwen's thing is she has to figure out, like, basically what makes Van Wilder tick. Why is he like this? Why is he still in college after 7 years? What is going on? His dad finds out his son is still in college and says, "I'm cutting you off." So that's what I had to come up with funds to come up with topless tutors, which I would have loved to have when I was in school. I didn't go to college, but maybe when I was a senior, because I was 19 when I was a senior, so I was of age and it was appropriate for me. At least in my eyes, I would have been okay. And that falls through when the strip club owner takes them back. I do like that his second string stripper team is a bunch of transvestites or transgenders, whatever you call it. You know, politically correct nowadays. Men dressed as women, basically, at this point. It's 2001. There is a lot of things in this movie that will not fly. And, you know, I've wondered, because I have a lot of movies that say unrated on them, and I've wondered, you know, how come they don't do that anymore? And it's because people nowadays, they're so butthurt by every little thing that they can't possibly put out an unrated film like these anymore, because people will get more and more butthurt about it. You know, like the scene with the men dressed as women, they'll find offensive because, you know, that's offensive to transgenders. It's a joke. The scene where they have the dog juice thing, oh, that's offensive to animals. It's, you know, PETA's gonna have a run at it. Stuff like that. Kids drinking, oh, you can't have kids drinking in your movie? It's a movie. You know, nowadays, making a movie like this would not fly. It shows the sign of the times. It shows the sign of the times that nowadays, movies like this would be frowned upon. And that's what this month is all about. Watching and reviewing movies. There's going to be a lot of unrated movies, let me tell you right now, that people would frown upon, because that's what the whole spirit of April Fool's is about. Doing things that normal people would frown upon, you know? Doing an April Fool's joke that gets a little bit out of hand. Movies like this are what we need in the world. But people get butthurt and say that's not politically correct to do that. And that's why we have political agenda movies out there now. You can't just make a movie anymore. It's got to have some sort of an agenda, right? The main lead has to be Hispanic or Chinese or African American, you know? Even if they're portraying a comic book character that is not that ethnicity, who cares about making everything correct, you know? Who cares about comic book canonicity or comic book correctness? We gotta have our own agendas, you know? I'm just saying. I'm getting out of hand here, but I'm just saying. But, like I said, a movie like this wouldn't fly. But of course, you know how this is going to end, right? So, if you've seen it, you know how it ends. So, Van Wilder, he's in trouble for the party, and he's on the brink of getting expelled. He goes to this court, which somehow Richard is on, even though he's a student and shouldn't be allowed to be on the board of directors, but he's on the board. And of course, he votes to expel him. And there's one lady that also votes to expel him. And then there's two others that vote to keep him in, to give him a chance, to graduate. And it's down to Paul Gleason's character, who is notoriously hates him. But of course, in this style of comedy, give him a chance. And I like how, Van Wilder, he's in there the longest. And he's taking this test, and he's in there, he's the last one in there, and he gives it to, Paul Gleason's character. And Paul Gleason shows up at his dorm room, which is a pretty kick-ass dorm room, to be honest, and he says, you passed. He has the respect to visit him in person to tell him he passed. And there you go. He's going to graduate. And he gets the girl, of course, in the end. And there's this whole thing, I know, alright? She had a boyfriend. It's been done in so many of these kind of movies too, where guys, this plucky upstart kind of, our main character here, and then he's around and he meets this girl. She's got a boyfriend. By the end of the film, they're together, and boyfriend who turns out to be a big douche nozzle, and that's what it is. How she didn't notice that before is beyond me. I do like that there's a quote-unquote sex scene where they're sort of doing it and he lasts like 15 seconds. I can last longer than that, and I'm a fat ass. Just say, and I had no complaints in that department before. But, I do like the characters, right? Taj is probably one of my favorite characters, and he gets front and center in the sequel, which I think is alright. And then you have the African American character whose name I don't know. No, that's not racist. I just don't remember his name. I've never known his name. And then you have, Paul Gleason is Paul Gleason. He's fantastic. May he rest in peace. Dick, or Richard, he's a great villain. I'll tell you that he's a great villain. Pretty good. Ryan Reynolds, it goes without saying that Ryan Reynolds is the best thing in this film. He's fantastic. His one-liners and quips throughout the film are the best thing in here. It's just, it's Ryan Reynolds. I'm pretty sure they let him go a little off the script, He's fantastic. The only problem I do have, at least for the first half of the film, is Tara Reid. She's so wooden. At least at the beginning of this. Towards the end, she gets a little bit better. Maybe that was the point. Maybe she was supposed to start stuck up, wooden, Miss Priss. And then by the end, Van Wilder has loosened her up. The beginning of this film, I just felt like she was standing in front of a board, reading lines like a robot. I need to find this story. I need to talk to Van Wilder. It's just, a little woodeny. But by the end of the film, she gets a little better, she's smiling and stuff like that. Even this smile a little wooden, but yeah, I've never been the biggest fan of Tara Reid anyway. She's one of my least favorite characters from American Pie. To be honest, I think the guy was better without her, but they gotta bring it back for a reunion. Anyway, this movie is good, alright? It's one of my favorite comedies out there, and it's gonna be in my top 25 comedies, that's for sure. I'm giving it a 10. There's very little I don't like. I think Tara Reid's performance is the only thing I really don't like in this. I found myself laughing my ass off during this film and just loving every little bit of it. So it gets 10 out of 10. It goes... Ow, my knee. To the moon. It goes to the moon, baby. I hit my knee. But yes. Ugh. Yes, this is a fantastic film. One of my favorites. Comedies of all time. To the moon. 10 out of 10. So what are your thoughts on National Lampoon's Van Wilder? Let me know in the comments below and come with me as we go through April Fool's Month I'm excited. How about you? Thank you for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. I've been Scotty. I'm a little out of it. See you in the next one.